Good evening and happy Saturday to you. I am First Alert Meteorologist Cutter Martin here with our 8 p.m. Atlanta News First Plus stream. And tonight's 8 p.m. stream designated solely to weather tonight. A lot to talk about. We do have an increasing risk of showers and thunderstorms. That chance will really ramp up as we get into the wee hours of Sunday morning. And along with the guarantee that you will see rain, hear the thunder, maybe those flashes of lightning also seen late tonight and early tomorrow morning. There is the possibility, not a certainty here, the certainty and the sure bet is with the rain and the thunder, but the possibility is with the risk of severe weather. Again, we do have a level 2 out of 5 risk of severe storms tonight into Sunday. Really, it's between about 2 o'clock far west Sunday morning and about maybe 11 a.m. or so far east that we do have that risk of severe weather here across North Georgia. This is a good time to remember that there are two places where we can chat, where we can converse, and you can get not only a check of the forecast, but get your questions answered. Maybe even get some clarification on the forecast, or if you need forecasts for an area outside of Atlanta, outside of North Georgia, that's okay too. Two places where you can get that. One is on YouTube. We are streaming right now on the Atlanta News First account, and we actually do have questions coming in, or salutations should say. Daniel, Yobel, John Riesinger, Wesley Millsap, hello to you. Wesley, you were on the earlier stream, and now you are on the 8 p.m. stream. A lot of weather to talk about, but Daniel, Yobel, John, and Wesley, thank you for tuning in and for watching. And a reminder that you can also simply text us. I'm going to pop the number up on the screen right now. Thank you for tuning in and for watching. We're still getting folks tuning in. So going to slowly work our way into the stream. Don't want anyone to miss anything. But of course, we can always circle back if we do need to readdress something, if someone maybe does come in midstream and ask that question. Speaking of that second option for you, 470-777-WANF. That is 470-777-9263. Number on your screen right now. You can text in your weather questions. I'm going to be looking at those. Also, a reminder as we go through the morning tomorrow, maybe you see nasty weather in your area. If you can safely do so, you can share with us what you are seeing by maybe sending a photo, a video to that same number. So let's go ahead and slide into the forecast. Going to start with the big picture here. First alert radar expanded beyond the confines of North Georgia. You can see a nasty line of thunderstorms moving from west to east across Mississippi. Out ahead of that, we're actually seeing showers and thunderstorms developing that also have the potential to rotate. There is rotation with some of these storms right along that line, but what we call supercell thunderstorms more likely to form just ahead of that line, and they will be capable of producing severe weather, well east of the main line of showers and thunderstorms that are moving through the Mid-South. So kind of a two-parter here, but really it's the next, I would say, time now, 8:05, the next 12 to 16 hours or so that we're going to be watching the skies very closely, watching First Alert radar closely. In fact, we can go ahead and zoom down in here to Jackson, Mississippi. Basically, the entire central portion of the state of Mississippi is under some sort of severe weather warning. I don't even have the watches plotted here. These are just active warnings. And you can see some red polygons. Those are tornado warnings. You can see the yellow polygons. Those are severe thunderstorm warnings. And where you see these purple polygons, case in point, right over the city of Jackson, Mississippi, this is a tornado warning, but it is more or less, a little bit more serious than your typical tornado warning, radar indicated tornado warning. You must take that one seriously as well. But just to read you some of the text from this particular warning that's in effect until 7:45 p.m. Central Standard Time. Tornado warning remains in effect until 7:45 for Rankin, southeastern Hines, and north central Copiah counties in Mississippi. A confirmed tornado is located near Crystal Springs, moving northeast at 55 miles per hour. They're saying that this is a damaging tornado, and it is not radar indicated, it is radar confirmed. So very likely they're looking at radar. They're not only seeing tight rotation, but let's remember that First Alert radar and the radar that the National Weather Service is using can detect debris being lofted up into the sky, and I think that that's what they're seeing here, along with that very tight circulation. And as I look at data on our apps as well, indications are that there is a debris along with that tight rotation, which is why they're confident enough, and out of an abundance of caution, they are putting in that verbiage there, radar confirmed. A tornado not indicated. And it's this line of storms that'll continue moving off to the north and east. Conditions in North Georgia not as favorable for severe weather as they are across middle Mississippi. That is very good news. However, There is still the possibility of some severe weather locally. We may not have the perfect atmosphere for widespread severe weather, but a couple of ingredients are in place for a couple of these storms that move through tomorrow morning to become strong, if not to push or exceed those severe thresholds and limits. Okay, going back to YouTube now, Atlanta News First, the account that we're streaming on. Daniel, so is Gainesville going to have a storm? Yes, everyone is going to get rain. Everyone is going to get thunder and lightning. So everyone will see stormy weather tomorrow morning. That's not the question. That's a certainty. But what isn't chiseled in stone is, will your neighborhood see any severe conditions? Wind gusts 58 miles per hour or greater, hail up to the size of a quarter. There could be a couple of embedded tornadoes as well. That's the uncertain part, but we have to prepare for a possibility, not necessarily the certainty here. Certainty is rain and thunder. The possibility is a couple instances of severe weather. Not one of those days where everyone sees severe conditions, but the possibility is there for a few neighborhoods to get impacted by severe weather, true severe weather. A breath of fresh air on YouTube. That's the avatar we're chatting with. Hey, Cutter, how bad are the storms going to be in Blairsville, and what time should they arrive? Okay, so we can go ahead and go sliding into the next part of this forecast. I'm going to go ahead and bring first alert radar in to North Georgia just to let you know that things are fairly quiet. We have a lot of fog, a lot of drizzle, low visibility. Earlier we did have a few spotty heavy rain showers moving through, but we're relatively quiet right now despite the drizzle and the fog. It's the wee hours of Sunday morning we're going to be watching. So breath of fresh air on YouTube, asking how bad the risk is in Blairsville and what time the storms will arrive. I'll walk you hour by hour here in just a moment. G Money on YouTube saying, will it rain Monday? No, we're dry Monday. Nice weather Monday. In fact, we're drying out Sunday afternoon from northwest to south and east, and Monday will be a vastly improved weather day compared to Sunday. Kimberly, the Georgia Mountain Woman, what should we expect in the mountains, Blairsville area? So we have a lot of questions about Blairsville. Can go ahead and pull that up. Bear with me here. I'm going to switch over my graphics. I would say the risk of severe weather is lower in the mountains as it typically is in this type of a setup, but it is not zero. So let's roll the clock back here. Hopefully, Kimberly, the mountain woman, is watching. Also, hopefully, who else? So breath of fresh air up in Blairsville. Again, we're chatting with folks on YouTube. A lot of YouTube avatars here, not always a full name, or maybe it's not the real name. So we're talking to avatars, so occasionally you're going to hear me say names that are not actually people's names, but it's the avatars we're chatting with on YouTube. And then Heidi asking, what is the ETA for storms in Griffin? So this is a good map to look at. Sorry, I started, kind of jumped the gun there, skipped ahead. Let's go back to right now. So Heidi, Kimberly, and those asking about the mountains. John Reesinger, are we going to get severe weather in Toccoa? Thank you. Kimberly, Kimberly saying, hey, neighbor. Yeah, we have some folks watching up in Blairsville. And Daniel is saying, hey, Gainesville having thunderstorms. Yes, Gainesville will see heavy rain and hear the thunder, the crackle of thunder tomorrow. You may not see severe thunderstorms, but everyone is going to be getting rain. So to those that are watching, want to specifically talk about Blairsville. Of course, Helen is on the map, LJ is on the map, Blue Ridge not on the map, Blairsville not technically on this particular map, but you can find your community. Of course, Blairsville is up in the northeast Georgia mountains. If you live there, you know where it is. And I think a lot of folks streaming around North Georgia know where Blairsville is. It's a beautiful town and a beautiful area and a place that we visit so often up in especially fall, then heading into springtime as well. Again, I'm going to circle Blairsville because I'm not sure what screen you're watching on. You may be watching on a screen that is a little small. In and around Blairsville, highlighted here in white. Breath of fresh air saying, hey, Kimberly, so we have neighbors up in Blairsville watching. So there's Blairsville, the rough location circled in white. And Daniel, hello to you. And then here we go. Here's the timeline. And what I will say is that forecast data is going to get better with the next few model cycles, the next few dumps of forecasts that we get into the First Alert Weather Center, because not only have storms formed, but now they are pretty much a solid line, and we were kind of waiting for that to occur, and it has occurred now. And I think the data going into these models is getting better and better and better. Thus the forecast and agreement between models is likely to continue to increase. So subtle changes a possibility, but we're going to be watching those data cycles here. New model runs coming into the First Alert Weather Center through the evening to see if there are any fine-tunings that we need to do, so to speak, in the forecast. So again, we've already had drizzle, some showers up in the northeast Georgia mountains, and in around Blairsville, you probably will have a little bit more rain through the wee hours of our Sunday morning. That's not the main show, though. Main show is screen left. line of storms, the lines we were just tracking through, moving through middle Mississippi, impacting Jackson, Mississippi, that line of storms will continue to push off to the east. And this particular forecast model has this line of storms in East Alabama at 2 to 3 o'clock in the morning. And you can see Cleburne and Randolph counties in Alabama at 4 a.m. Storms are already in the county. And these storms will be capable of producing some gusty winds. And it's possible we could have an embedded tornado or two within this, whole line. Not everyone sees terrible winds, and not everyone's going to see tornadoes, of course. But this is something we're going to be watching. Daniel asking about Gas South Arena and the Gladiators. This is a weather stream. We don't have a news update tonight. We have no news updates, no news headlines. Daniel, this stream is particularly designated to the forecast tomorrow being a first alert weather day. Kimberly saying people in the mountains have nothing but trees. All of these winds do some damage. They do. And that's a good point, Kimberly. It doesn't have to be 58 miles per hour or greater to cause damage. Technically, it would have to be that strong or estimated to be that strong to get that, severe thunderstorm warning classification. But, soils are a little wet. Thankfully, we're in the dormant time of year. Not all, but some of our trees have lost their leaves. A little less pull from the wind, so that's a positive. However, certainly something we'll be watching out for is even 40, 50 mile per hour wind gusts can cause some issues, and certainly do in this part of the area, in this neck of the woods, so to speak. So going forward in time, by 5 a.m., Rome, Carrollton, down into LaGrange, storms are moving east. These are moving east pretty quickly. So Ellijay, Canton, into the heart of the city of Atlanta, really right along the I-85 corridor from Canton. I know that's closer to 75, but then really lining up along I-85 down to Coweta County, Noonan, and down into Troup County, LaGrange. This is about 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. So technically, those watching in Blairsville, you're going to have rain and thunder before 6 o'clock in the morning. But as far as this line of storms, that blast of wind, or at least the risk of that, and a more intense rainfall rate, and more intense downpour, thunder and lightning, that will be approaching as we get into the 6 and 7 o'clock window. Won't last long. The worst of the heavy rain and potentially the wind, again, it's not a guarantee you're going to see severe winds, but potentially you are going to see that between 5 and 7 o'clock in the morning. Daniel say that this is going soon, but no. So Daniel's probably talking about some news headlines, talking about hockey or sports, not weather, though. I don't think you're, Daniel, if you are talking about something weather, maybe just retype that. I may have missed a little part of that, or part of what you're saying may be missing there. So 7 o'clock in the morning, Kimberly, and then also John Riesinger up in Toccoa. So, John, you're going to be one of the last places in North Georgia to be impacted by this line of rain and storms. One of the last places, because you're furthest east, this line of storms is roughly moving west to east. But between, 5 and 7 or so, I would say the worst of the weather up in Blairsville. And then for Toccoa, this is already east of you, the worst of the weather, John, by 9 o'clock in the morning. So I would say between 8 and 10, again, I'm having to give you a little bit of a window here, between maybe 7:30 and 9:30 for Toccoa. That's when the worst of the weather could be. You can see by 8 a.m. the worst of the weather is already east of Atlanta. And as we get into the mid-morning hours and then late morning, rain is very swiftly moving east of us. In fact, here we are. We're going to drop our first alert weather day as we get into the afternoon. There could be a spotty little brief sprinkle or light rain shower with some clouds and a breeze. But overall, this is a morning issue. This is a morning impact and a morning first alert weather day, especially early in the morning. Yeah, you're very welcome, Kimberly, and that's a good point. You're closer to daylight. Everyone feels a little more comfortable when you can see what's going on outside versus just having to hear things go bump in the night when you have these nasty storms rolling through. So, Kimberly, that is a plus for your area. You're very welcome, John, as well. Colin Hughes asking about Cartersville. Let's roll the clock back, and we'll kind of circle Cartersville. And just bear with me here. And I'm going to roll the clock all the way back. Mentioned we might do this. We have some folks joining midstream and don't want anybody to miss out. The most recent question was about Cartersville. Of course, we will kind of highlight that on the map. So I'm having to do this with a mouse on a computer. Technically, I'm shadowed into, so it's a little touch and go. But here's a look. Let's see, Daniel, what will happen if you get new take on Windows that's thunderstorm? Not expecting any huge changes in the forecast. We will have new data come in. If anything, that will just provide more clarity and it'll kind of help us hone in on exact times. But I don't anticipate any huge changes to the forecast. You're guaranteed to have rain and some thunder tomorrow morning. The possibility, not the certainty, is that, there will be a couple severe storms. And one or two of those severe storms, there's a chance it could impact you, chance it could impact my part of town. We just don't know exactly which towns, which neighborhoods will be most at risk for, being impacted by gusty winds, for example. Though in general, I will say that risk gets greater south of Atlanta, southwest of Atlanta, Troup County, Randolph County, Alabama, Upson County, Butts County, Lamar County, Putnam County, over towards Eatonton. That's just a general take, though we are all highlighted from the Storm Prediction Center as having a risk of severe weather tomorrow. Let's see, ICXC Bless on YouTube. So it looks like Douglasville is going to see a moderate chance of severe weather early in the morning. This is Vanessa from Memphis, Tennessee. Vanessa Smith watching from Memphis. You all had nasty weather earlier today, still probably raining a little bit there. So yes, I would not, I would say the guarantee 100% chance in Douglasville tomorrow, you're going to have rain and you're going to have thunder in the morning. We'll talk about the risk of severe weather. It's a level 2 out of 5. Level 2 out of 5 risk of severe weather, that's a slight risk. That technically equates to, a less than medium chance of severe weather occurring within a handful of miles of your home. But that's, nomenclature, that's nitty gritty. Just know that there's a risk of a couple severe storms moving very quickly through the area early tomorrow morning. Now, can I guarantee that your area won't see those storms? No, but the fact that we live in a pretty, spread out area and not everyone is going to have severe thunderstorms knock on their doorstep, that tells me that not everyone is going to see severe weather tomorrow. In fact, I think most of us technically, while stormy, may not see those severe conditions, though everyone will see the rain and hear the thunder. All right, hour by hour forecast. The question about Cartersville came in from Colin Hughes. So again, Colin, apologize for the delay in getting this answered. More drizzle, more fog, and some scattered heavy rain showers tonight. Could be a few rumbles of thunder as early as 2 a.m., moving off to the north and to the northeast. I have the rough location of Cartersville, really much of Bartow County there circled. And again, hour by hour forecast, I would say roughly 5 to 7 a.m. or maybe 4:30 to 6:30, just in that window, depending on what side of Cartersville you're on. Are you far west Bartow? Maybe even East Floyd, or are you far east Bartow going into Cherokee County? Just know that in general, the 4 o'clock hour, 5 o'clock hour, into the 6 o'clock hour, you're going to have to watch out for heavy rain and thunderstorms moving in. Shania S. asking about Floyd and Polk counties. About the same time, just a little bit earlier. I would say 3:30 or so to 5:30 or so for Floyd County and for Polk County. That's when the worst of the weather will occur. It's basically a line. I mean, you can see this very well. A line of thunderstorms moving through. Not scattered storms where some don't see rain at all and then someone down the road gets absolutely poured on. It's going to be a line of storms moving through. And Colin saying, thanks for watching, Colin, and appreciate the questions as it helps provide clarity for the forecast, or clarity of the forecast for others. Jason, hopefully I pronounced your name correctly. If I didn't, I apologize. Williams says, asking about Gwinnett area is good for tomorrow morning. You will have everyone in the Atlanta News First viewing area, so everyone who is streaming right now on ANF Plus and lives in North Georgia, you all have a risk of severe weather no matter where you're watching from. If you're in Atlanta, if you're in LaGrange, if you're in Cleburne County, Alabama, if you're in Eatonton, Georgia, if you're in Clayton, Georgia, if you're in Rome, Georgia, all of these areas do have a risk of severe weather, including Gwinnett County. That's not a guarantee, that's a chance. The guarantee is the rain and the thunder. The risk or the potential, that possibility, is winds 58 or stronger. And we could see a few quick spin-up tornadoes tomorrow, especially south and west of the city of Atlanta. Case in point, Gwinnett County, here you are, 7 a.m. according to this run of this computer model. Gully Washer up in Gwinnett. Nasty storms moving through, rain, thunder, heavy rain, and within this line there could be a couple severe storms creating, worse conditions than what other people are seeing. Saying, Daniel, we had loud storms all night last night here in Blairsville. Hopefully they didn't wake you up out there. I know we did have some drizzle and some rain today, and of course yesterday evening we had more showers move in, more rain move in, even some heavier rain in the city of Atlanta last night. 11 noon, 1, 2, not noon, 11 midnight, 1, 2 woke me up actually. Not much in the way of thunder for Atlanta, but it was raining. Shania S. is asking, what about Kennesaw area? You're very welcome. Glad to be here, glad to explain. And then again, even though this stream is going to conclude here before too long, because we do have our 10 o'clock newscast on Peachtree TV, Atlanta CW, want to remind you, if this is your first time watching one of these streams, I am First Alert Meteorologist Cutter Martin. In fact, I'll go ahead and pop my name up for you all. And if you ever have a weather question, of course, we will get those answered for you on Atlanta News First. In the First Alert Weather app, there's a video there now. We're going to record a new one. I'm going to record a new one, put it in there here at the conclusion of this stream. And all of our other platforms, but you can also just reach out on social media. You can comment on a video or a post. We post weather stuff all the time. If you want to send me a direct message on Facebook, on X, on Threads, any social media outlet that is there. If you want to send me an email, cutter.martin@wnf.com, that works too. Would love to answer any question that you may have, because obviously the weather is something that impacts everybody, and sometimes it can be something that really worries some folks, and we're here to not only give you the forecast but provide clarity and of course help you through it. Some people don't like storms and have a little bit of storm anxiety, and even though the risk of severe weather is not infinite tomorrow, it's relatively low, but it's not zero. So we need to keep an eye on it. We need to keep you up to date on what's going on, and you need to pay attention to that forecast. Tina Boudreau saying, what about Griffin? So, we're just leaving this map up here, and I think that this is probably one of the better ways to explain what is going on, because, it gives an idea of where rain will be at a given time in relation to your given area. Good evening, Dexter Green, Mr. Cutter. My question for you is, how cold do you think it will be in 2025, and typically how long does a cold snap last until spring gets here? We're gonna talk about that towards the end of the stream. This is really about severe weather, but what I will say is, after all of this rain and storm activity tomorrow morning, you're gonna get a nice little break, and it's gonna be mild to start the new week leading into the new year, and it's looking increasingly likely we're gonna head into a very cold period of weather, especially as we head into, after the 10th or so maybe of January, maybe as early as, the 6th, 7th, 8th. So it does look like it's gonna be cold. Doesn't mean all of 2025 is going to be cold by any means. It just means that we're going to have a cold snap as we try to head into, early to mid-month, kind of heading towards mid-month. So we probably could have, 2 weeks or so, Dexter, to kind of just give you a quick answer of some cold weather. Tina Boudreau is asking about Griffin. So we've already had some drizzle. We've had some scattered showers move through. In fact, poured here at Atlanta News First, West Midtown, 14th and McCaslin earlier this afternoon into the early portion of the evening, enough to, hear it on the roof. Right now we're pretty quiet, lots of fog, some drizzle, but we are having some new spotty rain showers develop south of Atlanta, so we're probably going to have some more rain, actual puddle-making rain, move back into North Georgia and metro Atlanta. Tina says, chances of tornadoes in Griffin area are just thunderstorms. Thunderstorms the guarantee. The chance is that, there could be severe weather. I guarantee rain and thunder for you tomorrow morning. The possibility is some severe weather. Case in point, here's our forecast right now as we go forward in time. Griffin is on the map there. You can see right on the freeway. I don't know if you live in Pike County, Spalding County. Griffin's kind of a sprawling area, so to speak. And a lot of people say Griffin, but they might live down towards Zebulon or something like that in Pike County. But in general, I would say your window of the worst weather is maybe 6 to 8 o'clock in the morning. Again, that's a window. Could arrive a little bit earlier than that. But with that window... Oh, Kimberly has a good question. I've always heard that lightning in the winter, you can expect snow within 10 days. And that's not just a Georgia mountain thing. That's kind of an Appalachian thing and a Western Piedmont, North Carolina, old wives' tale. But it is just old wives' tale. Data is all over the place. Sometimes it works, a lot of times it doesn't. There is no real correlation. But that saying, that old wives' tale, has lasted for a very long time. Southern mountain folks love to keep those stories going. But no real correlation to that. And I can say that. Just, looking back at data, no real correlation. So, again, back to Griffin, I would say roughly 6 to 8 a.m. A little bit of a rough there. So as we approach sunrise, the risk of nasty weather in Griffin is going to increase. All right, I do want to talk about the actual risk of severe weather, because a lot of folks have this question. If you have been outside this evening, it's still chilly. It's still drizzly. It's still a little foggy. We have that wedge of cool air still in place. However, forecast models, some of the ones that are more aggressive with the risk of storms, want to actually move in some warmer air tonight, and we might actually warm up a few degrees And that's very likely. It's just a matter of how much do we warm up overnight tonight. If we warm into the 60s early tomorrow morning, then yeah, that risk of severe storms is very valid. If we remain in the lower 50s, still could be a couple severe storms, but the risk just not quite as great. So here is a look, and this is basically for everybody, though I will say that risk of severe weather appears to be greater south of I-20. The further north you go, up in the mountains, for example, risk of true severe weather is defined by 58-mile-per-hour winds or stronger, isolated tornadoes, hail to the size of a quarter. We're all under pretty much the same risk, but if I had to choose an area that's a little bit less at risk, don't dismiss it though. Don't. I'm going to give you an inch. Don't take a mile. It will be the North Georgia mountains. A little bit less of a risk up that way. Dexter, you're very welcome, and I'm glad you enjoyed the broadcast. Wesley saying, I live in Ackworth, so you and I will get thunderstorms 5:30, 6 a.m. That's kind of a tight window, though. Wesley, we have to broaden that window just a little bit. This line of storms is still getting organized. And sometimes with these storms, when they really get into a line and really start to surge forward, they can actually speed up a little bit and kind of beat forecast models. So do keep that in mind, Wesley. In fact, we can go ahead and pull our forecast model back up. And while that's loading, another question came in. Dexter Green, small possibility of snow in January or February. It's been a while since snow in Georgia. There's always a small possibility. And I will say the first thing you need to get snow is cold air. And as we head into mid-month, even a little bit before that, we will have cold air moving in. That doesn't mean we're forecasting snow, but it does mean that it's technically not impossible, but the chance is low. And there are no direct likely signs. Some forecast models have been showing crazy cold things off and on for the past few days, and there will be a pattern change that makes it a little bit more possible for that portions of the east could see a significant storm along with the cold, but nothing in our cards that has us putting snow in the forecast yet, nor anytime all that soon. The focus is squarely on tomorrow and that risk of severe weather. So hour by hour forecast, getting back to Ackworth. Again, see, this is 5 a.m., and it's already knocking on your door, and this is going to be moving quick. So that by 6 a.m., it's already to your east. So if I had to give you a window, I would say, 5 to 6 is a little tight, maybe 4 to 6, 4:30 to 6:30 in that window. 4, 5, 6 o'clock hours will be the time to watch. Kimberly is saying the wind is already picking up in Blairsville. I'm not looking forward to that at all. Yeah, it's already starting to blow just a little bit. Again, kind of a battle of the wedge, and then more of a southerly wind trying to kick in too. But winds could be gusty as this line moves through. Now, it's not, and for example, I'm just going to pause this, put in a little pause point so I can draw on it. The risk of gusty winds is going to be in this part of the storm, and I hope everyone's able to take a glance at their screen. It's as this initial line moves through, right on the leading edge of this line. This is where the risk of widespread gusty winds is going to be greatest, as it moves east. It only lasts maybe 15, 30 minutes. Really probably 15 minutes, the worst of the heavy rain and any adverse conditions like that. But it's going to be that leading edge where the risk of gusty winds is going to be greater. And the wind shouldn't last all that long, and then you're back to just light to moderate rain and occasional flashes of lightning, lighter winds, occasional very deep rumbles of thunder. As the lighter rains, this stuff back here, as this lingers, that will be lighter rain, no real wind. Thunder and occasional, lightning, flashes of lightning and booms of thunder. But it's this part, the leading edge of this, as it surges off to the east, this is where the risk of gusty winds and a brief spin-up tornado will be greatest. And it'll only last about, 15, 30 minutes at any one particular spot. And again, here is the risk of severe weather for the next 2 days. Now, this is very tricky and very unfortunate with this particular severe weather event. This forecast goes from 7 a.m. this morning, so many hours ago, to 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. What happens to be moving through our area within that window? It's the line of storms. So up until 7 a.m., there's a slight risk, level 2 of severe weather for Cleburne, Randolph counties, all these counties shaded in yellow, a little bit closer to the state line. Further to the east, just a level 1 out of 5 risk of severe weather. However, after 7 a.m., technically that is day 2, so a different forecast day, totally different map, drawn by the same forecasters, though, in many cases. And you can see that now the rest of the area that was a level 1 is now a level 2, and this is for Sunday, 7 a.m. until Monday, 7 a.m., but As far as this forecast is concerned, it's that time period about 7 a.m. or so Sunday through about noon or so Sunday. Kimberly saying it only takes one good gust to cause a lot of problems, and that is true. Hopefully, though, you don't have any of those issues, but that's why we're here streaming. We're here giving you the first alert weather day. We're letting you know that there could be a couple of issues tomorrow morning as these nasty storms roll through. They're going to be nasty regardless of whether we see severe conditions or not. The guarantee is heavy rain. The guarantee is a nasty morning. The guarantee is thunder and lightning. The possibility, and what we need to pay attention to, is that risk of storms reaching severe levels, either winds gusting to 60 or so, or, spin up tornadoes. I think there could be some hail tomorrow morning, but probably going to be small hail. It has to be quarter-sized or bigger, or at least the hail has to be estimated to be that big to reach, severe thresholds and get a severe thunderstorm warning. But you can easily have hail smaller than that and quite a bit of it, but it just may not get that severe thunderstorm warning. So that's that portion of the forecast. And then as we get into tomorrow afternoon, we're dropping the first alert weather day. We're seeing improving conditions, breezy, likely going to be 60s tomorrow afternoon, especially if we get, some sunshine moving in, and the risk of severe weather is gone with just some sprinkles and maybe a spotty light shower moving from northwest to southeast, especially the mountains tomorrow afternoon. Nothing to write home about, nothing to worry about. So we will continue to keep you updated. Again, I'm First Alert Meteorologist Cutter Martin on this First Alert Weather Day Saturday, giving into a First Alert Weather Day Sunday. We are tracking early Sunday storms in the First Alert forecast, the risk of severe weather with these storms in the First Alert forecast. And I want to remind you, I'm about to record a video, put a new update into the First Alert Weather app. And then after that, we are on Peachtree TV on Atlanta CW at 10 p.m. I'm going to join Chelsea Beimfor. Full forecast, latest news headlines. We're going to talk all about the weather and the coming cold eventually behind all of this. And then you can also catch the late news tonight, WANF on Atlanta News First, on WANF. Hopefully going on time tonight. We had no early evening newscast preempted by football. That's possible. Could have messed around with our on-air time tonight for the 11 o'clock newscast. But we will still go on. May just be a little late. So that's why it's good to keep an eye on the stream and also the First Alert weather app. I want to thank everybody, Dexter, Kimberly, Tina, only a few of you. There were many that streamed, many that asked questions. Hopefully those questions were answered in a way that makes sense, in a way that helps you prepare for the First Alert forecast. I'm going to leave you with a very foggy look at Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport. It's very foggy, very drizzly. Rain showers moving through, but the risk of severe weather, that arrives early Sunday. About to send a video update to the First Alert Weather app, and we'll catch you on TV, Peachtree TV at 10.